Hi, I'm Gavin Syme.
And I'm Vivian Corrigan, and welcome to Perthshire Online TV. So what have you done with the real Gavin? Are you his younger brother?
Yes, the
evil twin.
The younger brother and evil twin. No, as they say, it's a new year, new look. Doing the Waistline Online challenge, trying to get myself fit, and nice new haircut with a few things done to it.
Looks great.
By Perth's own Charlie Taylor.
Very good, very good. She's done a good job.
She has, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has.
So tell us, Vivian, what's on the show this week?
Well, I caught up with our resident personal trainer, Stephen Clarke, about the Waistline Online Challenge, as you mentioned, to see how you got on, and Elaine Christie as well. Also, Dr Alex Yellowlees has been in, and he's been chatting to us about parenting skills, so that's really good, really interesting. And also, I touched base with Catriona Laing from Perth and Kinross Council about child internet security, and they have a special event in March for that, so that was really good.
Great. And this week I caught up with David Heartfield, and David's the organiser of the Rewind, the very successful Rewind Festival, which is on at Scone Palace this summer. We also have Jason Blyth in the studio, our new reporter Jason, who's talking about St Johnston, again, his favourite subject. And we, as it's coming up for leap year, everybody starts thinking about leap year, and they start thinking about weddings and whatever else. So we actually hook up with local kilt maker Emma McLaren from Strathearn Kiltmaker.
Yeah, and on that subject, I also had a lovely interview with Irene Emerson, a local wedding planner. So that's good.
And on the kilt theme, we were delighted this week that we had Steve Bonthrone, the local trainer, in the studio, chatting about his event, the Perth Kilt Run, which is happening in summertime. So we got the lowdown on that, and it's a great event. It's going to be hopefully a world-breaking record as well. And don't forget to tune in to our Perthshire in Profile radio show with our friends up in Heartland FM. You can listen to Perthshire in Profile at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and it's repeated again on a Thursday at 10 PM. And you can hear our interviews interspersed with some great music into the bargain. But as we say, it's on with this week's show.
I'm delighted to be joined by Dr Alex Yellowlees, our resident psychiatrist and medical director of the Priory Hospital in Glasgow, and we're going to be discussing parenting skills. Now, this is one of the most important jobs, isn't it, Alex? But one you get no training for, let's be honest.
Absolutely, and it's super that we have a chance to chat about it today, actually, because I think it's such an important job, if not potentially the most important job any of us will ever have.
That's right, and there's no exam at the end of it, but you know, you really do want to do your best in this, don't you?
Well, you do, and there's no training course either that one can go on. And I suppose as a result, most of us initially fall into a style of parenting that resembles the way in which we ourselves were parented when we were children.
I think that's true.
Yeah, our parents are usually the only models we have for how you actually relate to children and how you bring them up. And for good or bad, better or worse, we tend to replicate the past.
That's true, and we even say the same phrases often to our own children that our parents have said to us, haven't they? You know, whether they're quite old-fashioned or whatever. You know. Or,
Indeed, exactly.
So, how involved really important is it for us to be involved with our children?
Oh, it's critical. Involvement means more than just being physically around. For some children, their parents are not even physically around a lot of the time, and that can be an issue if one or either parent is just physically absent for lengthy periods of time, because you could argue that when they come back then they're going to get quality time with their children, but that is often a challenge. So I think in general terms, being physically present and also being emotionally present is where it all starts. You've got to be there and involved with the children at a physical level and at an emotional level.
But you think that would be a natural thing, but to some people, I suppose it goes back to, as you say, to their upbringing, it's not always easy, is it?
I think that's absolutely spot on. It's not always easy, and yet, you know, we take it for granted that people will know how to bring up their children, but they don't, and they will struggle often with making a connection and being involved with the children, depending on how they were brought up themselves. But I think knowing that doing things with one's child and actually listening to them, talking to them, sharing things and getting that level of emotional connection is so important will help some people move forward with it, even though they find it doesn't come naturally.
Yeah, and it's not just the big things. I mean, sometimes it's the smaller things, isn't it? You know, playing games with them, or football, or helping with the homework. You know.
Absolutely, the small and the big things. Really, it's all part of the building blocks, if you like, of good parenting. So I think being physically present, being emotionally involved is critical.
And do you think that helps to create a warmth there then with the parent and the child?
It does. There's got to be warmth, and I suppose by that we're really meaning a sense, the atmosphere of it being a loving family, and that there's a level of acceptance of each child. And that's an interesting one, because a lot of children, and when they're grown up, will talk to you about their experience of being parented, and we've all been through that. And often there is that sense of one parent being disconnected from one and not able to make some sort of connection, of not being good enough just for being there. That the expectations are so high upon one that a lot of children will simply never feel that they're good enough and not loved just for being around and in their own right. That there are conditions to a parent's love, which really essentially ought to be unconditional.
And there shouldn't be this sense of, well, you're going to lose respect if you get sort of too down on their level, because that's not true, is it?
No, I think parents, when you talk about respect, I think most parents think, yes, I want my children to respect me, but it's a two-way thing. Of course we want our children to respect us, and that's important, that we set that scene, if you like. But it's equally as important that as parents we respect our own children in their own right, as individuals and human beings in their own right.
Because they're just little people, aren't they?
Just little people, and in many families that's not the case. They're viewed as lesser citizens or lesser human beings, if you like, and don't get a level of respect, which some parents find difficult to give their children because they feel they would be losing power.
But do you think a lot of parents as well, though, maybe lose respect because it's a sort of do as I say, but not as I do? Do you think?
Yes, well, I think that comes to that important issue of consistency and congruence, doesn't it? Where I think this is such an important point that you've raised there, because I think it's to do with a parent modelling the kind of behaviour that they want their child to pick up upon and to learn and to replicate. In other words, that if a parent says one thing and follows it through with the appropriate action, then there's congruence there and consistency. Children get really, they need to know where they stand, and there needs to be simple but clear rules. And children get really confused if a parent says one thing but they themselves do the opposite behaviour. That's not congruent. Or if they say one thing one day and the ground rules change for the next day and the same condition doesn't apply. So children need that sense of stability by having clear ground rules and clear expectations, because it's only that way really that a small child can make sense of the world. And feel that it's consistent and they can relax and the stability. And
consistency, I mean, let's face it, it is difficult, isn't it? Because both mum and dad, indeed if it's both parents that are there, it can be very difficult.
It is, because you're right, it's at two levels. It's with each individual parent, it's getting consistency between what they say and what they do, but it's also getting that consistency and congruence between each parent, where mum is saying one thing and following it through, and dad is saying the same thing and following it through, because you often get families where the ground rules are set with mum, but the ground rules are completely different when it's just with dad, that leads to confusion.
I know, mum can be a bit of a soft touch sometimes, can't she? So, going back now to summarise this, we've got 6 points here for successful parenting, and really to get these points home. So, we discussed involvement, Alex, so...
Absolutely. Being involved, emotionally and physically present, but not in a way that is over the top and smothering.
Right. Now, acceptance... What about that?
Well, it's all about balance. This, as we're trying to demonstrate here, is acceptance in the sense that the child is loved and accepted in their own right, but that doesn't mean that you could just overindulge them and spoil them with love and affection.
No,
so there's a balance to be found there.
And I think balance is the key word, really, and we know that is often when it's very difficult, isn't it? Now, firmness. A lot of people think that's discipline, but what does it really mean?
Well, I think it's about having appropriate boundaries and expectations, and them being clear and consistent, so that, again, that brings sense and stability in the child's thinking. but not in a way that everything is absolutely bound by rules to the point of rigidity. And you do see that in some families where, yes, there are so many rules, so many do's and don'ts, that it's a bit like being in a training camp or an army camp rather than a family. There's got to be boundaries, there's got to be firmness, there's got to be consistency in there, but there's got to be a degree of flexibility in there as well.
That's true.
And not something that's over rigid.
No, because then you lose the sense of fun, don't you?
Absolutely.
In the family, and you don't want that.
And I think there's still families where the dominant style is where the child has to actually just follow like a little soldier what dad or mum says, who is the captain of the ship kind of thing, to the point where they're being barked orders all the time rather than given direction.
Now that's quite a good phrase you use, the captain of the ship, because somebody does have to make the decisions. So
absolutely.
Democracy, where does that come in?
Well, that's clearly important. Everybody's view, if you like, should at one level be taken into account, where the child will feel listened to and involved. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to be in charge and make the final decision, and that has to be really one of the parents. And that's rightly so, and that way children feel safe as well, of course. So it's from simple things to big decisions. It could be, what movie are we going to watch tonight? Everybody could have a different idea, but at the end of the evening somebody's going to have to decide what movie we're going to watch.
Well, say it was the children that always made the decisions. What problem can that make? You know,
well, absolutely. I think there are families within which particular children become little superpowers in their own right, and that just upsets the whole balance and dynamic of a family and can lead to all sorts of behavioural difficulties and different situations arising.
So it is important for parents to sort of to keep that, as you were saying, that level of being in charge and making the decision. But
not in a way that's completely rigid and too authoritarian.
Yeah, and they need to be consistent.
I need to be consistent. Again, we come back to that sense of consistency, which does bring stability and security into a child's world when they know that the rules of yesterday are going to be the same rules today, and they therefore know how they can modify their own behaviour to follow and fit in with that.
Yeah, and congruence, what about that?
Well, the congruence one, we're back to, doing what you say yourself, and also getting that agreement between mum and dad as to what the words and the actions are going to be, so that between the two of them they're also congruent. And that doesn't happen in a lot of families. There's no point in mum saying, this is the way you do things, this is the way you should speak to me or not speak to me, and dad just letting it all go. There's got to be that consistent, congruent message. And that way, again, children learn that what you say has to be followed up by appropriate action, which is so critical for functioning in the adult world. That's right. In a normal, healthy and adequate way. And
we're talking about mum and dad, but we know that is typically not always the situation. But in general, we're talking of the adults in the child's life, aren't we?
The key figures. The key figures, absolutely.
Very good.
So I think if we follow these kinds of principles, which are not easy, we all learn as we go along in these things, then we're heading in the right compass direction for doing the best we can, I think, for our children. Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming in and discussing that with us. And as we know, parenting is a privilege, but it's always a challenge as well.
Well, the Rewind Festival at Scone Palace last year was a huge success, and it looks like it's going to be an even more exciting lineup this year. Well, as being an 80s teenager, I'm very excited about it. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to make it last year, but it's very much on my agenda for this year. So we're delighted today that we've actually got David Heartfield, who's the organiser of the Rewind Festival, on the line with us. David, welcome to PerthshireOnlineTV.
Hello, and glad to be here.
David, a little bit behind the scenes, first of all. I mean, we all know about the Rewind Festival. It started last year, certainly, and it was the first time in Scone Palace last year. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and who's David Heartfield, and where did he come from?
Well, I fell into the music business by accident. I think, like a lot of people in the late 70s, early 80s, I really didn't have a clue what to do, and I worked in a couple of nightclubs, and actually the first maiden show I worked on was Jean-Michel Jarre, which was a very 80s event in London Docklands, and that was kind of the start of it, and I've been in it ever since.
And tell me then, Rewind, where did the idea for that come from? Was that sort of an epiphany that just sort of you thought about and all of a sudden went, oh, I'm going to do an 80s festival, or was it a long time in the thinking?
Well, I'd love to claim it was a stroke of brilliance, but in truth, it came about almost by accident. I live in Henley-on-Thames, which is now where the first Rewind Festival started, but at that point we were promoting concerts all over the country, and we had done a series of concerts for 10 years at a stately home in Norfolk called Blickling Hall.
Right.
And basically we were trying desperately to find something to mark the 10th anniversary there, and for all sorts of reasons acts weren't available or were touring in the wrong part of the world, and I really couldn't find anything. And Carol Decker, who is the lead singer in T'Pau and also happens to live in Henley, I was having a drink with, and we were moaning away about it. And she said, well, why don't you put an 80s show together? And if truth be known, I wasn't sure it was going to work. I mean, I loved the idea personally, but you always wonder in these things whether everybody else will just get it and think it's fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, we put a one-evening show together of 10 acts to celebrate the 10 years, and it sold out really quickly, and we suddenly realised that actually, you know, you're not alone. There were lots of people wanting to relive those years, and it's kind of grown from there.
Fantastic. So from Henley then up to Scone Palace in Perthshire last year. I mean, we think Perthshire's...
Obviously, the Henley Festival had grown significantly over the first couple of years, and we got loads of emails from people, both in Scotland and up in the north of England, saying, you know, why don't you do something for us? It's a great idea and it's too far to travel and so on. And although quite a few do come down, we looked at it. There had been a previous festival called Retro Fest that had taken place for a couple of years up in Scotland, and that had ceased. So we started a search really to find the right location and launch it in Scotland.
And so why we think Perthshire's lovely. We love Perth. It's a great part of the country. But why the location of Perth then? Central for everyone?
Well, I think location is the key to it. I mean, we looked around and geographically it seemed to be perfectly positioned for us. You know, it's not that far from Edinburgh. It's not that far from Glasgow. Dundee's just up the road. So, you know, all the communication links were there. And then having narrowed our search to the right type of area, we looked around for a location and went along to have a look at Scone Palace, and it's a fantastic setting there. I mean, you've got the beautiful Tay on one side and the palace on the other, and, you know, lovely open parkland, and that was a decision made, really.
It's idyllic, isn't it, out there?
Oh, it's beautiful, and, you know, the campsites run down beside the river, and, you know, if you're going to go and spend a weekend, our audience are a slightly older age group to say tea in the park, and, you know, they want a bit of comfort, and it needs to be a nice setting.
Yeah. So, you know, it's not just the type of thing, something like that, David, that you turn up on the Wednesday or the Thursday, a little bit planning, and you disappear off on the Tuesday, and that's it till next year. So what's the behind the scenes at this point in time from a planning perspective? I mean, it must be huge.
Well, it takes actually about a year from start to finish. It's now really a year-round operation. As soon as we've finished one festival, we are already starting on the line-up and discussions with artists and their managers and agents and so on to try and put the line-up together for the following year. And that takes probably from September each year through till December, January, and a last flurry of contracts and so on, so that we're ready to launch it in January. And then the logistical operation takes place. Obviously, you know, there's all the serious side of it and planning with the emergency services and the council to make sure it's a safe environment, to make sure the impact on locals is not adverse, to make sure the traffic flows and the roads don't get jammed up, etc. And then all the planning of all the fun elements to it. So as an operation, it runs year-round now.
Well, you know, I think it went so successfully last year. The only challenge was the number of Madonna lookalikes that I saw in Perth Town Centre on the Saturday morning.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of Madonna lookalikes, quite a few village people, so we thought we'd bring the real one over this year. But yeah, I mean, the audience are the stars of the festival. They really dress up, they know all the words to every song, they all sing along. And that's kind of the fun. It's taking part as much as the acts on stage. It's everybody
Well, so if we move on, David, you know, if I can be so macho and ask for a quick run through of the lineup this year.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Saturday we start with the Bay City Rollers as a bit of fun to take us into the 80s, and then we've got acts like Right Said Fred, Limal, Average White Band, who obviously is virtually a homecoming gig for them. Catriona and the Waves, Sunita, Go West, Chesney Hawks, the reformed 5-star with all 5 original members.
Wow.
Jure, again, not that far away. Jimmy Somerville, and we finish on the Saturday night with Ali Campbell's UB40. And on the Sunday we've got the Christians, the Straits, Lightning Seeds, one act still to be announced, and we hope we'll be announcing that in the next week or two. Altered Images, John Parr, Wang Chung, Fine Young Cannibals, ABC, Mark Armand, the Village People, and we finish up with Holly Johnson.
Fantastic! It's going to be great this year. I mean, fingers crossed. It's such good weather as last year as well, because it was wonderful that weekend.
Well, everybody tells me it's always sunny in Scotland.
Don't know whether that's quite so true, David.
No, but we crossed our fingers and we booked early, so let's hope it's a repeat of last year, which was, you know, you couldn't have asked for a nicer weekend, really.
And off stage, there's quite a lot of new activity this year as well, isn't there?
Yeah, we've got a few more things to announce, but we're always trying to introduce lots of fun things. So, you know, there's lots of things like silent discos and live karaoke and street entertainers and fun fairs and theme bars and all sorts of stuff to keep people amused whilst they're there. So
the audience can be performers as well and get up on the stage for some live karaoke.
Yeah, I think it works on a number of levels. It's, you know, for some people, and there are some amazingly talented people who get up there and perform, you know, with a live band and the full production facilities, and that's fantastic. And then there are those who actually go and murder it, but, you know, for the audience watching, that's equally as entertaining at times. It's
fantastic. Well, David, listen, thank you very much for your time today, and all the best with the planning, and hopefully Perthshire Online TV will catch up with you before the event, if not on the day.
We look forward to it.
Thank you for your time, David.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
The internet is a modern fact of life, and although it has many benefits, many problems can arise as well. So joining me is Catriona Laing, a Development Officer with Perth and Kinross Council Education and Children's Services. Welcome, Catriona, it's lovely to have you. Now, you're from a teaching background, but I know you have a new role within the department. Would you like to tell us a bit about it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, my current role is really centred around internet safety, and it's two main areas to it. The first being the sort of wider aspects of internet safety for children and young people, and looking at how we can support staff, parents, to equip children and young people with the skills they need to explore the internet safely. The other side of my job is slightly different but related, in that it's to do with the sexualisation of children and young people, which is really the changing nature of our society, how really the sorts of images, the sorts of language, the sorts of content that children are exposed to nowadays is very different to what it was when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Increasingly sexualised, and in some cases quite explicit. And part of my job really is looking at that, how we can bring in work within schools to try and support children and young people in how to manage these sort of situations, because the more that young people are exposed to that impacts upon their perceptions of themselves, their perceptions about their gender, about where they fit into the world, what's expected of them, and that subsequently impacts upon their behaviour. And so there's a role for us in schools to look at how we deal with children and young people, the sorts of things that we expose them to, but also how we help them to gather the tools to manage life as it is nowadays.
Yeah, because as you said, I mean, 20 years ago, your job wouldn't have existed. No. And in fact, even less than that, a few years ago, there wasn't a need for it. But this really is a problem now, isn't it, that children have to face on a day-to-day basis?
Yes, huge
problem. And it's all age groups, is that right? It's not just secondary age children.
No, really, it's all age groups. I mean, really, from the minute young people are on the internet and children on the internet, the sorts of things that they're doing, the minute they're exploring using search engines, using social networking sites, then there are certain strategies we need to give them about how to keep themselves safe.
Yeah, because children are by nature curious, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that's where the danger is, isn't it?
That's right, and very often they have far better knowledge than us, they have far better skills than us, but they don't have the life experience that we as adults have, therefore they can't see the bigger picture. And so we need to, it's not about stopping them using the internet, and it's not about stopping them from doing all the things that are really positive, it's about giving them the skills so that they can actually do that safely.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a really good point there, that often children are better aware of what's going on than maybe we adults are. Isn't that a problem as well, you know? For their parents to maybe help them, often the parents don't understand
That's right.
things about the internet. That's true. Now, you have this new initiative that you're launching on the 1st of March. Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah. Really, it's an event, a big event we're organising on the 1st of March in Perth Playhouse in the cinema. A central location, one that really is accessible to everybody, and it's an event for parents, for carers, for professionals, anyone really who's working with children and young people, living with children and young people, and it's based around internet safety, but it's around the sort of wider aspects as well. So we're trying to educate about some of the issues that perhaps that are in the background and are always there, but that don't necessarily always come to the forefront until there's a problem. So really it's about giving parents and professionals some information and about the current issues.
Very good. And who else is involved in that event?
Well, we've got 4 speakers. Basically the event is going to run over 3 seminars. So there are 3 seminars over the course of the day. There's a morning one at 9:30, afternoon one, and also one at sort of tea time. Each seminar lasts for a couple of hours, and within that there are 4 speakers. They're all identical. The 4 speakers, 2 come from Tayside Police. We have 1 speaker who's going to talk about online radicalisation. So that's Kevin O'Donnell, who comes from the Prevent Project in Dundee, based in Dundee, and it's about really grooming for a different purpose. About looking at he's using a case study to look at the sort of vulnerabilities of young people online, the sorts of factors that might make them susceptible to outside influence. We've also got a speaker coming from the Public Protection Unit in Perth, who is going to talk about a local perspective, the sorts of issues and and investigations that they've had to deal with, and from a Perth and Kinross point of view, just to give parents further information about that. The 3rd speaker is a lady called Linda Thompson, who's coming from the Women's Support Project in Glasgow, and they've done a huge amount of work around the area of sexualisation and commercialisation of children and young people. And she's coming to speak about that and how our society has changed and what it's like for children and young people growing up in that society and how that impacts upon them. And the final speaker is from Stirling, and he's an IT development officer called Joe Shaw. And he's going to talk about taking control. So basically, after we've talked about all the problems and the issues, his job at the end is really to look at how to take control, what you can do to keep yourself safe, to keep your children safe, the sorts of actions, practical actions that people can take.
Yeah, because that really is what is needed, isn't it? Is practical help and advice, and so that they can be safe and they can use the internet in a safe manner. So that sounds really interesting. Thank you so much for coming and telling us all about it. Now, this event is free of charge, and it's at Perth Cinema. And if people want to go along, now the spaces are limited, so if you would like to go along, then contact Catriona. And your telephone number, Catriona, is?
It's 01738 477 861.
That's lovely. That's lovely. So go along and give Catriona a ring and book your place, and I'm sure you won't be disappointed.
Well, what a time it's been for St Johnston in the last few days, and we've got our very own fan and indeed our very own eye on St Johnston with us today. That's Jason Blyth. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Barry.
What happened to the Saints in Perth?
Well, last Saturday they played host to Dundee United in the Tayside derby and lost 5-1, unfortunately.
5-1?
5-1. Basically, 2 goals for Dundee United. They happened to be own goals from St Johnston. Stephen Anderson pulled one back to make it 2-1, but in the last 10 minutes it was 5-1. Dundee United. Just a catalogue of errors from the goalkeeper and the defence.
Oh dear. Was he a popular man in the changing room afterwards, do we think?
Well, the goalkeeper, Peter Enkelman, he has been dropped.
Oh dear.
It's temporarily at the moment.
Okay.
So yeah, no, that leaves St Johnston still 5th in the league. They're 1 point behind Hearts, but have a game in hand. So there's everything to play for. Saints are chasing a top 4 finish at the end of the season, and hopefully that will get them into Europe. So they're not far off it, they're just 1 point behind.
Now, since you mentioned Hearts, that's a nice little segue. Going back to Valentine's Day of all days, the Saints played Heart of Midlothian.
They did, they played.
And that was a cup game, wasn't it?
Cup game, it was the 5th round replay. It was 1-1 at Tynecastle previously, so it went down to the death at McDermott Park. I had to ask the girlfriend to let me off for Valentine's night to take in the game.
You really are a serious fan.
Yeah, but I'm taking her out this weekend, so it's all good. But yeah, I got my hope. It was a good game. I got my hopes up that day because it was 0-0 for ages, and then in the 83rd minute, Murray Davidson opened the scoring for St Johnston. So 7 minutes left. We thought we're moving to the quarter-finals, but as fate would have it, in typical Saints fashion, Hearts were awarded a very contentious penalty in the dying seconds of normal time, and that was scored by Jamie Hamill.
Contentious why?
Apparently Mabry had pushed in the box. I didn't look it from where I was sitting. I've seen the highlights as well on the television, so you know, it's just Saints were very hard done by, in my opinion. But
do you think there's something to be said for the use of Hawkeye in football matches?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for getting the technology if it's there. UEFA argue that if it's not available in the park, it shouldn't be available in the Champions League, for example. But I'm all for it. If it was there, St Johnston would have been through.
It's got to start somewhere, though, hasn't it?
It has indeed. It has indeed. So you never know. Saints, had they had Hawkeye, they would have been able to progress through to the quarter-finals.
I mean, I know it's probably a dirty word, but if we'd had Hawkeye during the last World Cup, England might have gone a little bit further than they would have done. That's too controversial.
That's too controversial, but yeah. I'm all for Hawkeye. Hopefully, you know, common sense will prevail later on down the years, and we might see an introduction into Scottish football.
So what's going on with the youth team?
Youth team, not much to report in the youth team other than Stevie May. He's been out on loan with Alloa Athletic. He's been banging the goals in for fun down there. And Steve Lomas, he's looking to get Stevie May signed up for a few more years up at McDermott Park. He's out of contract in the summer. But Steve Lomas, instead of keeping Stevie May on the bench, he decided to put him out on loan, get some first game experience, and hopefully he'll be a rising star of the future in the next season.
Explain to me why are players let out on loan? What's the point of that? Why do they do it?
It could be that they've been injured for a while. They might get put down to a lower division just to get some game time under the belt. But in Stevie May's case, he has played for St Johnston. He's played a few games, but you know, we've got Fran Sandaza doing pretty well for Saints. He's not going to get into the team ahead of him anyway, at the moment that is. So just to get some experience and to keep him playing rather than just waste away in the bench and not get on, I think he's made the right move.
Of course, you're losing Sandaza at the end of this season, aren't you?
That's right.
Okay.
So, you know, it could be an investment for the future with Stevie May. He scored 2 goals, I believe. I could be wrong there. He scored 2 goals against Hamilton last season. So, you know, hopefully he's one to watch anyway. Do
you know where Sandaza's going?
No, there's no. The offers are going to come flooded in. It's just as well he didn't make the move to Rangers. Rangers were looking for him.
Yeah, what about that? What's going on there?
Well, you know, everyone knows about Rangers at the moment. They've been in the news constantly. They've gone into administration.
Does that have an impact on St Johnston?
It could potentially have an impact.
Pick up a few players cheap? No?
Well, yeah, I was mentioning that.
Just kidding.
But no, people will make a move. The players are still under contract at Rangers, so they're not going to be going anywhere. But definitely at the end of the season, they could be losing players like McGregor, you know, to some English teams on the cheap. But your question, will it affect Saints? It's hard to say. I'm very optimistic. I think Rangers will have a buyer. I think some guy from Dubai is going to fly in his private jet, say, oh, 49 million in debt, here's 60, and everything will be fine.
Well, but I mean, 140 years, is it? 1872? I mean, that must be one of the first clubs.
Absolutely, and you know, it's a shame in a way, as much as fans like to gloat at other teams' losses, it's quite a big thing for Scottish football. Celtic say they don't need Rangers, but I really think they do.
Well, it wouldn't be the same without the Old Firm, would it?
Exactly, you need the rivalry there, and you know, I think you'll be daft if you don't want Rangers, if you're a Celtic fan at least.
So how old is St Johnston, by the way?
1884.
18, so not far behind then, really?
Not far at all. So, you know, it is a shame. It happened to Gretna. Gretna, you know, all their money went, and they've vamoosed away from all the leagues. So, you know, you wouldn't want to see that happen to Rangers. I think they're okay. I think they're too big to waste away and disappear. So I think if their fans stay loyal as they normally are, I think Rangers will be okay.
Well, I always used to remember as a child watching World of Sport on a Saturday afternoon and waiting for the football results, because the Scottish football results were always the most fascinating, because you've got the most incredible names. I think it was St Johnston 2, Queen of the South 1. I think Queen of the South, what a lovely name for a football club. Does that still exist, by the way?
Yes. They're in the first division. I think they're looking favourites at the moment or they're in pretty good steading to coming up to the SPL next season, so you'll get to see Queen of the South pretty soon. You don't want to go all the way down to Dumfries to see them, though.
Because it's a border, well, Queen of the South, why not? So what's happening, what games coming up?
The next Saints game, depending when you're watching this episode, will be on the 25th of March when Saints play host to Dunfermline. That's with a 3 p.m. kick-off. And the following week, the 3rd of March, Saints make the long trip up the Ayrshire coast.
I think you meant the 23rd of February, didn't you? Because you said the 23rd of March.
Oh, yes, of course.
23rd of February.
25th of February.
25th of February.
Okay.
Let's get it wrong. Let's say it really right now.
Okay.
25th of February.
Ask me again.
Yeah, boom. Take 2. When is their next game?
Saints play host to Dunfermline on the 25th of February.
We'll put something on the screen.
Yeah. Saints play host to Dunfermline on the 25th of February.
Yeah.
That's with a 3 p.m. kick-off. And the following week, the 3rd of March, they make the long trip up the Ayrshire coast to play Kilmarnock, and that's with a 3 p.m. kick-off as well.
Okay. So any other news for us from St
That's
Johnston?
everything.
Okay, well, Jason, thank you ever so much for coming in, and you'll be seeing Jason again very soon with some more stories from St Johnston, because he is our eye on the pitch.
With the average price of a Scottish wedding being in the region of £20,000, a wedding day is a serious commitment in more ways than one. And I'm delighted to be joined by Irene Emerson of I Do Wedding Planning. Hello, Irene.
Hello, Vivian.
It's lovely to have you.
Thank you.
Now, I've seen the movie, but you live the life, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
This is what you do.
And a real fun job to have, Vivian.
It's so exciting. Now, it sounds quite an American idea.
It is, and Americans have been using wedding planners for years, and the UK have just been slowly catching up on their American counterparts.
Very good. So why would someone want a wedding planner? Why come to you?
Right. People will use a wedding planner perhaps because they don't actually live in Scotland or Ireland, so they want to have a wedding planner for that reason.
Right.
Or they're working professionals that work long hours and have busy social lives and don't actually have the time to plan their own wedding.
Very good. So tell us about some of the services that you provide.
Okay. Well, the advantages really of using a wedding planner is that we can save you time and money. We will do schedules for every aspect of your wedding. We will help visualise your dreams to make it into your perfect day for you. We will help you have a realistic budget and also keep to that budget.
Yes, that's very important, isn't it? Because I'm sure it must go out the window sometimes. You know, people get ideas that they want. They maybe see something in a magazine.
Yes, indeed.
So you help all that.
That's right. People will bring snippets out of magazines or from their friends' weddings, different elements of it that they like, and bring that all over to me, and then we can discuss that together.
How lovely. So tell us, a typical wedding, what sort of things do you help with?
We can do as much or as little as the bride and groom would like us to do. We don't have any fixed packages, so we will discuss at our free initial consultation what they would like us to do. And the important thing, Vivian, to remember is that we don't actually take over your wedding. It's your wedding and we're there to coordinate it. We might have to find a venue for you. We might have to offer photographers, find a florist, find something unique for your guests, favours, flowers, any element at all of a wedding.
Very good. So you do take over the worry, don't you?
Absolutely.
You take that
we take away the stress, Vivian, from the couple.
How lovely. Now, does this all sound expensive?
There is that perception that wedding planners are expensive and it's only for the rich and famous, but that's not the case. More and more couples are now realising the benefits of having a wedding planner, and our wedding planning services start from as little as £150.
Right, and as we said earlier in the introduction, with weddings being very expensive, it's an investment really to have someone. Well, I suppose in a way you can save money.
We can save money, and we're also we've got all the knowledge and our expertise in our field.
Very good. And as I said, it sounds such an exciting job, doing this on a day-to-day basis. What experience have you got in this?
I've always worked within the hospitality industry. I have managed numerous weddings and events across Scotland and Ireland, ranging from small intimate occasions from 6 people up to events for 3,500 people. I am passionate about providing excellent customer service and have great attention to detail. I'm also a member of the Institute of Hospitality, the member of the Institute of Professional Wedding Planners, and a fully qualified wedding consultant.
Well, that's some list, isn't it? That's excellent. And your clients are in excellent hands.
Yes, they are.
That's lovely. So if you would like help in planning your big day, then get in touch with Irene on her website at idoweddingplanning.co.uk.
So the 2nd of June's a big day in Perth. It's a big day in the North Inch. There's going to be thousands of people running, and they're not actually just going to be running, they're actually going to be running in kilts as well. We're delighted today that we've got Steve Bonthrone with us, who is organising the Perth Kilt Run. Steve, welcome to the studio.
Thanks, Gavin.
So tell us all about the Perth Kilt Run. What actually is, well, what is the Perth Kilt Run?
Okay, the Perth Kilt Run is a world record attempt for the world's largest kilt race. It's over 8 kilometres, 5 miles, which is round both the North and South Inches and along Tay Street in between. And we're looking to attract between 1,500 and 2,000 people to come along with their kilts and come and run.
And
help us break the record.
Not just tartan, in a kilt.
In a kilt, yes. Don't need the sporran or the kilt pin, just the kilt.
Just the kilt. So what inspired you to do something like this? And I mean, I know you're a big runner yourself, you're a personal trainer, blah, 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 but where did this idea come from?
Well, it came from, as I say, I'm a personal trainer, I've been a runner and have my own running club, and set up took over the organisation of the Perth 10K race last year through the Enterprise Perthshire running events. When I heard of the challenge that was given to the Provost about the Perth Kilt Run, then I wanted to be involved. I thought it was going to be a really exciting event to be part of, and got in touch with the Perth and Kinross Council and offered my services.
Great. And so it's a world record attempt.
Yes.
So give us some background. Who's got it at the moment?
Okay.
Who are we competing against?
Right, we're competing against Perth, Ontario in Canada. They set up this race in 2010 to celebrate Perth 800, which was a kilometre for every century for Perth, so that's where the distance comes from. And they had brought 1,089 people along, and they did it again last year. They got 200 more people but didn't record it for Guinness, and they're doing it again. And when the Provost was out, he was challenged for us to beat the record.
And he took on the challenge. So,
yes,
so technically we've got to get over 1,089 people running around with their kilt on.
Yes, that's right.
And it's part of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee weekend as well. What's all happening with regards to the event?
It's the Kilt Run forms part of the day of celebrations with the Pipers Parade. So we'll hopefully have 1,000 pipers and parading through Perth in the morning, and we'll have the Kilt Run, and there's also a Jubilee lunch on in the North Inch.
Great. So, I mean, at this point in time, you know, I'm trying to do my wee Waistline Online challenge at this point in time, and I'm doing my wee bit round at the inch and things. But for general Joe public out there at this point in time, what should they be doing? Because, I mean, to be honest, there'll be loads of people that want to turn around doing this. They should be signing up just to be proud of Perth at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, what should they be doing, even if they're not big runners at this point in time, to prepare themselves for something like that?
Okay, there's what they would be great to do is to get out, even start walking just now, and start jogging just little bits at a time. Jog slowly, then slowly build up. What we're looking to do is to team up with Jog Scotland, and for their next training batch is to encourage people who can't run at the moment, who believe they can't run, is to go and join in with them for their 12-week walk, or I will also be setting up my own running club from the 10th of March to do the same thing. So there'll be one on the Wednesday with Jog Scotland, and there's the one on the Saturday with,
to prepare yourself for it.
Yes.
And of course, to prepare yourself with your kilt on and running as well, I suppose, which is a wee bit of a challenge too.
Well, it's going to be a challenge. I think it's all a bit of fun, really, rather than a serious race. So the message, really, for this is that you don't have to be fast. It's not the fastest who wins. It's all about participation. Yeah. Coming and supporting the bigger event, wearing a kilt, and let's get a world record in Perth.
But we're doing it for charity. You're doing it for charity as well. There's two charities that are benefiting from the whole event as well, aren't they?
That's right. We've teamed up with PCAVS and ABF, the Soldiers Charity. So if people want to fundraise to make it more special for them, then they can fundraise as well.
So at this point in time, we've got the 2nd of June in our diary.
Yes, that's right.
2 o'clock in the afternoon?
2 o'clock in the afternoon, yes.
So what do they have to do at this point in time? Because obviously you want people to be inspired and actually not wait until the last minute. What they've got to be training themselves, but what do they need to be doing to register at this point?
Okay, we'd like to encourage people to sign up now. We have the website perthkiltrun.co.uk, and we have a Facebook group and Twitter feed. From the website, they can use our online registration system. If they don't have a kilt, or have a kilt but they don't want to get there sweaty, then we have a kilt hire facility available. We can also recommend any of the Perth kilt shops to supply the same thing.
Listen, it's a great event, really, isn't it? And to be honest, we should all be pulling together in Perthshire to actually make our mark to some extent globally, shouldn't we?
Definitely, yes. It's not about individuals. This is about organisations. This is about teams, groups of friends. Could be
with social clubs from businesses and things like that.
Yeah, well, businesses, yes. Great opportunity for businesses to promote their brand, if their staff are wearing their T-shirts and stuff, their logo around the route. It's all be part of this huge event. Whether it's a hockey team, a football team, a darts team, you name it. Come along, we want to be...
Get your kilt on, get running.
Get your kilt on, get running. The great thing is, recommend, is to go and enter now. That way you have the focus and have a target to aim for, so it makes it easier for training.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Steve, great idea. I'm sure it's going to go really well, and hopefully we'll catch up with you on the day. And
yes, thanks.
Pop into the studio again and give us a wee update, maybe in a month or two, and see how things are going.
Yeah, will do.
So remember, the 2nd of June in your diary. Get your kilt on and get running.
And today we're going to be talking all about kilts, kilt hire and tartans. And we've got fantastic guests from Strathearn, Kiltmakers. We've got Emma here. Hello Emma, welcome to the show.
Nice to
now
meet
it's
you.
fantastic. I mean, there's nothing better than wearing a kilt, is there, for a man? The way it swishes around. Oh, I've worn one, many a time. So who would hire kilts?
Everybody hires kilts, from children up to adults, for all sorts of functions, weddings, christenings, hogmanay, school dances, proms, everything, you name it, people wear kilts.
Now, tell us just a little bit about your business. It started in when?
1996, and we started out in Auchterarder. It was actually my father, John, that started the business.
He used to be a tailor, didn't he?
He was a tailor previously, yes, and then he got involved in kilt making, and has obviously the business expanded into Perth now. So it's great.
So there's lots of anybody can hire the kilt for lots of different occasions, obviously. So what's the advantage of hiring a kilt against buying a kilt?
Well, hiring a kilt means you've got your choice of different tartans every time you've got a different event. Also, a lot of people don't want to buy their own kilt, as a kilt is made to your size, so people do tend to fluctuate over time.
Are you being personal?
No, of course not. No.
Actually, that's a good point, isn't it? It's a really good point, because if you're hiring a kit, if you buy a kilt, and you only wear it like once every 5 years, maybe you're not very popular, you don't get invited very many places. By the time you come to put it on again, it may not fit. So it makes more sense to hire a kilt, doesn't it?
Yes, it makes a lot more sense to hire a kilt. It's cost effective, and yes, nobody wants a kilt in a wardrobe that they can't fit.
Now, I've seen lots of photographs of Scottish weddings. To be honest, there's been a fluctuation in the levels of the fashion, above the knee, below the knee, anywhere in between. What's the perfect way of wearing a kilt?
Well, the kilt should be correctly sitting top to middle of the knee. That's the current fashion.
Does that change?
Apparently years ago it used to be slightly below the knee, but
Okay.
at the moment it's top to middle of the knee.
Middle of
Obviously the kilt needs to be at the correct position on the waist, which is usually around the belly button, the fullest part of the stomach. We also, to give people a guide, just say position it sort of middle button of your waistcoat on your jacket. So that keeps people correct. There's nothing worse than seeing a kilt that's too long. Or too short, equally.
Too short. Well, listen, we've done something about that, haven't we?
Yes,
What we've actually done, we've actually filmed a fantastic show, a section. We've taken your husband, and we've correctly dressed him, and we've got a video now showing you how important it is to wear your kilt correctly, and this is how to do it.
So basically the bow tie is straightforward. It's just on a band and slide, so you just clip that and position that in place. So the jacket and waistcoat are actually separate. It is only the waistcoat that buttons and the jacket just hangs as is at the front. So when you put the kilt on, you want to make sure that you secure the strap and buckle to the left hand side first. And then you want to take the top apron and finish off at the right hand side, again slotting the strap into the buckle. So the correct positioning for the height of the kilt is usually around the fullest part of the tummy, which is usually the belly button. The kilt is worn correctly at this height, as the jacket's short at the side. The correct positioning for the sporran is approximately 2 finger widths below the points on the waistcoat. The sporran chain strap feeds through the back of the kilt on these 2 belt loops that you see here. You just secure the buckling strap in there and that holds it up. So ski and do slides down your sock. You basically show the top 2 inches of the ski and do. If you're left-handed, it goes down your left-hand sock. If you're right-handed, it goes down your right-hand sock. The kilt pin is pinned onto the front apron of the kilt. So positioning of the garters, they just get secured, fastened underneath the sock. Centre the garter to the outside of your leg and fold the rollover of the sock back over. So this is what the lace looks like done up. So to tie the laces, you just want to begin as normal with the crossover. Take both the laces and twist them together to form a cable. You want to make this about 2 to 3 inches. That's centred to the front of the ankle. Take your laces round the back to the front, and finish as normal in a bow. The most important thing to remember when wearing a kilt is the correct positioning. You want it to sit top to middle of the knee.
So now you've got no excuses for not wearing your kilt properly. Now, if I wanted to hire a kilt, okay, you go to many different sizes. What's the process of actually hiring a kilt?
Oh, it's quite straightforward. You'd obviously visit the shop, come in, and we'll take all the sizes and guide you through how to wear the outfit correctly. A lot of people, weddings, different functions, have family, friends travelling from out with the area, so we can quite easily supply self-measurement forums, or those guests can go online, get the forum, send everything through to us, and we can work with that perfectly fine.
So say I'm a tourist from America or anywhere else in the world, can we actually work with you by phone or by email or by on your website to be correctly measured before we come and pick the
yeah, we can work with all that. Usually online we'll send a forum out, just asking for all the sizes, everything we require. They send it back to us ahead of time, and we take it from there. When they arrive in Perth, come and visit us at the shop. We try all the garments on, make sure everything's fine. Simple process.
Now tartans, there's hundreds and hundreds of tartans. Is there one that's a particular favourite, or which is the one that's hired the most?
There's hundreds and hundreds of different tartans, but for us there's our own tartan,
which is fantastic.
Yeah, the Pearl of the Tay.
The Pearl of the Tay. Oh, look at this one. It's absolutely gorgeous. Look at this Pearl of the Tay. Look at that, it was beautiful. Now, can you explain this as well?
The Pearl of the Tay was designed in 2002 by ourselves. At that time, purple was very much the in colour for weddings, so everybody was looking for purple. So we decided to bring out our own one, which was local to the Perth area. Obviously, the River Tay runs through Perth.
And also the pearls used to be a big industry on the River Tay, didn't they, years ago?
Yeah, pearls was, and that was one of the things that we sort of picked up on. And we thought,
and you've got this white banding going through, which kind of picks up the pearl theme.
The colours and the tartan go with the pearl, the Tay. And everybody loves the tartan.
So if you've not really got a family name or a family history about your own specific tartan, say a Campbell or whatever, you can choose something that's more generic like this and still wear it with pride. Yeah,
certainly you can still wear that. There's Pearl of Tay, there's Flower of Scotland, there's varying different tartans that people can wear.
Now, do you need accessories with these? When they hire something, do they get all the accessories too?
Oh yeah, everything comes in the kilt outfit, sporran, shoes, your ski and do, socks, shirt, everything is there.
Do you have to bring your own hairy legs?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do the kilts look better with hairy legs or without?
Either
What's
or.
a personal choice?
Either or.
Now, it's obviously a kilt is a man thing, but you do it for children and kids as well, don't you?
Children's kilt hire, we do that service as well, just bring the kids in. Nothing better than seeing a little lad in his kilt outfit.
Oh, it's got the factor.
Yes.
Everybody wants to take his photograph at the wedding or what have you. But I mean, the kilts are for any occasion, really, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic for Christmas, New Year, Hogmanay, birthdays, celebrations. And do you find a lot of people who are not Scottish and not got Scottish ancestry want to wear the kilt?
Oh yeah, certainly. People from all over, they love to see the kilt, they love tartan, and they're more than happy to.
I'm not entitled to wear a kilt. I can't think of any roots back to Wales, yes, but not to Scotland. But I've worn a kilt 3 times in different films that I've done, and they've hired one every time. And every time it comes, there must be one kilt in London that fits me, and it used to be one that was made for Derek Griffiths. No, not Richard Griffiths. Richard Griffiths. So I get the same one every time. I've not got a clue which one it is, but never mind. Now listen, I want to just ask you as well, because I think you're the only one that actually makes the kilts on the premises in Perth as well. Yeah. Which is good.
All our kilts are made in our workshop, which is downstairs in the shop. All bespoke, handmade in a traditional manner. All our kilts have 8 yards of material in them. A lot of people are taking shortcuts these days. But no, we just like to stick with tradition.
Your father's like the master kilt maker, and he's a stickler for quality.
Yes, quality is
and quantity as well.
Quality and quantity.
And quantity is not. So it'd be really interesting. I mean, what's more fantastic and personal is if you're having a kilt made. I suppose it takes a while to do it. You could nip in and see your kilt in various stages of it being made.
You can see the kilt in different stages. Yeah, you obviously come in initially for your kilt fitting. Then what we always do is we get you back in for another fitting. The kilt goes round your waist. You'll see it just when the pleats are starting to be formed at the back. You can pop in whenever and see it at the stage of getting its straps and buckles. The process to make a kilt properly takes about 12 to 13 hours.
Okay.
The pleats at the back are all hand stitched. So yeah, it's all
and that'll be done over a period as well.
Yes,
so
over a period of time. Yeah, over a period of time. Yeah.
So it's fantastic. So you've got the option of actually coming to you and buying the full kilt and regalia and everything to go with it, or the other option is you do a fantastic hire service, which of those who have fluctuating weight problems, shall I say, is probably the most economic, because if you buy something 2 years, I mean, no, in my case, 2 months later, it may not fit. Alteration. Anyway, if you need some good kilts and some great hiring of those kilts, then I can recommend Strathearn Kiltmakers. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
Well, as many of our regular viewers will know, 4 weeks ago we launched our Waistline Online challenge to help my lovely but slightly chubby co-host lose a few inches from round the waist. And to help him along the way, we've got the help of Elaine Christie, mother of 4 from Scone, who has her holiday booked for June, and she's wanting to lose a wee bit of weight as well. So to find out what's been happening in the last few weeks, we've called in our resident fitness expert, Stephen Clarke, who's going to update us on what's been happening. Hi Stephen, how's it been going?
Surprisingly well. A few changes here and there, but they're both doing well.
A few challenges maybe as well?
Elaine has taken my advice head on.
Right.
And she's adapted it to her lifestyle, which we can talk more about.
Yes.
Gavin has actually flipped his lifestyle upside down. He's actually very, very busy now.
Right.
So I've had to redo his plan, if you like, re-go over it.
Well, that's good, because often life does change as well when you do start something like this, you know, and Gavin's not alone there. So yeah, that's really good. Well, I know we've got a bit of video, haven't we? We went out with the camera and followed them to see how they got on. So let's have a look at this, Stephen. So what's happening here?
Well, Elaine, like I said, she's a mother of 4. She does have problems getting exercise in. So I said, look, by all means, bring the pram out.
Bring the baby.
We'll go for a bit of a power walk, and we actually jogged as well, which I think we might see.
Yeah, that's excellent. So very good. Right. Oh my goodness, here he is.
There he is, the man himself.
Very good.
Yeah, Gavin did well with the a little bit of jogging here and there. We need to build it up slowly, as he's not been jogging for a while.
No, and it's a cold day. You can see that. It was a cold, damp day.
It was. We soon got warm though.
And what's this now?
Gavin said he wanted to firm up his chest a little bit. So he couldn't do full push-ups, so we used a bench instead, which is a very good alternative for females as well, which if you don't have enough upper body strength. So
now, bearing in mind, this was the first one, wasn't it?
We did. On this particular day, we did 45 push-ups.
Good.
3 sets of 15.
Very
he did well.
Excellent, excellent. And now we can see the workers in the background there, just sorting out the north inch. Oh, look at the face. Right, okay. Now, this is the jog. This picked up the pace.
She did say to me that she was a bit scared about, jogging with the pram, but when you get into the rhythm of it, it takes very, very little pressure on the pram to keep it moving, and as long as you keep it under control, there's no problem at all. Start off slow and we build up our confidence with it.
Excellent. Baby James is enjoying the run there.
He loved it.
Good.
He loved it.
I bet he did. Very, very good.
We actually went down to the water as well, and we did some dips on a bench, and he was having a good old laugh with us.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think our camera lady managed to capture that. I don't know what happened there. I must have pressed the wrong button. Very good. Elaine's done really well, actually, fitting all of this in.
Elaine is doing very well. I'm very pleased with her progress so far, and her commitment to it.
That's good. Excellent. Really good. Now let's have a look, see what... Back to Gavin.
Now this is Gavin's last set, and the reason I know it's his last set, because you'll see his face when he comes off the bench here.
Right, okay.
He's not too pleased.
I wonder why.
Wait for it. There it is.
Good for him.
But he did well. I'm very pleased with Gavin as well.
But
he is training hard.
When people take up training for the first time, it does take effort, doesn't it? Now I think this was... I think he's maybe got something to say here.
I think this is towards the end of the session.
I think so.
I was hoping for something a little bit more energetic.
I was jogging earlier on. You're too late, we've already been round.
You've even broken sweats.
I have so, that's why I've got my hat on.
Very good, you did really, really well.
A few felt this body underneath Vivian, it would be hot, hot, hot.
Thanks, I'll just take your word for it.
Really well there. And it's good fun as well. I mean, let's face it, they both enjoyed themselves, didn't they?
They did.
They really
They
did.
did.
Well, there we go. There's our Gavin. Well done, him. What's he like? He's so funny. Now, we said for a bit of fun that to help them achieve their goals and to encourage each other, that we were going to do a treats and forfeit system. So we need to see sort of how they've got on and what their results are. But before we come to that, I'm just talking a wee bit about their training. Has it been working well? And I mean, we've seen the VT there of what they've been doing on the inch, but
it has.
else?
Well, like I said, Elaine's lifestyle has always been dictated to her. She's a mother of 4. She works, and she's always found it difficult to fit in healthy eating and exercise along with that. What I've done with Elaine is given her the tools and the knowledge that she needs to fit in the healthy lifestyle, the good nutrition and the gentle exercise, and just fit it in with her normal lifestyle.
Yeah.
And she's, like I said, she's taken it like a duck to water.
She has done.
She's taken it on board, and she's doing very, very well with it. She's actually now thinking, she's asking for more advice. You know, what can she do above and beyond this to take it a step further?
I think she is determined, because I was out running on the North Inch the other day on my own, and just happened to bump into her by coincidence.
Great.
And she came with me, and we went twice round, no stopping. Now that is really good, because when we watched the VT, she was walking for some of it.
She was. That was her first session, and we had to walk a little bit.
So she's built it up really well.
Well, was that the North Inch?
Yeah.
So
that's 3 miles.
So that's 3 miles round there. So that's great.
That's fantastic. Right, Gavin. Now you said things have changed there.
Yes, things have changed with Gavin. Before, Gavin had a little bit of time on his hands. He was flexible. He could fit things, but it was just the motivation factor, and things have now flipped on their heads. Gavin is now extremely busy. I'm finding it hard to tie him down for an appointment, and we've changed it a little bit more again, just so we can, almost the advice that I'm giving Elaine, you know, tell him to make time rather than find time, you know, and it's trying to get the exercise in and making the right choices with your meals. And he still eats out, so it's still applying those principles to restaurants as well.
Very good. Now you set them both a target. Now they have to, the way the treats and forfeit system is going to work is that Stephen has set them a target. Now they've got their individual targets, but they must achieve the joint target in order to get the treat. It's so that they're encouraging each other, because that was really what it was about, wasn't it? This
it was, yes.
thing.
It's a team effort.
Yes, it is, and we get a bit more fun. So we want to know what their targets individually were and have they achieved them. So let's find out, because if they don't achieve the target, then they both have to do the forfeit, even if one has achieved targets. So, Stephen, the results for Elaine, how has she been doing?
Elaine has done very well.
Right.
I've set Elaine the target of £3 over 2 weeks, which is £6 over the 4 weeks, and she's passed that, which I'm very pleased with. She's actually lost half a stone.
Excellent.
Half a stone in 4 weeks.
Good girl.
So she's doing very well.
Very good.
Our body fat percentage has dropped by about 2.5%.
Well, that's really
So
good.
So even better, yeah.
That's
I'm very
really
pleased with
good.
that.
She must be delighted. Very good. Well done, Elaine. Now, what about Gavin? He's not let his team down, has he?
Luckily, no. Gavin has done well. He's
Might I look disappointed?
he's changed his lifestyle, and he still went for it and managed to get the weight loss that I set him.
Really?
I didn't
So he reached target?
I didn't set Gavin as big a target as Elaine, because he had less to lose. It's really just the waist measurement that I really wanted to see come down, and that has come down by about 3 centimetres. So I'm very, very happy with Gavin.
Well done, well done. So it looks like it's treats for them both. Well done. That's really good. And the lovely treat that we have had donated to us is from Chiquita Leonard of Simply Nails, who has donated a £20 beauty treatment to each of them. Although, to be honest, I think it's going to take a lot more than £20 for Gavin to get him back in shape. But anyway, sorry, Gavin. But that's really nice, Chiquita. Thank you so much. So that's Simply Nails. We thank you very much indeed. So, well, that's really good news, Stephen. You must be really pleased about that.
Delighted. I couldn't be happier. So really, it's looking into the next 4 weeks to see what they can do.
That's what I was going to say. What are you going to set for them now, then?
Well, for Elaine, I want exactly the same. She's shown me that she can lose half a stone in 4 weeks. I'm going to give her exactly the same target that I did last time, so it's £6 over the the 4 weeks, and let's hope she can do another half stone.
Yeah, and it's very achievable, isn't it? You're not
Definitely.
setting silly targets.
No.
It's reasonable.
I set her a very reasonable target. I mean, the experts say £2 per week. So over the 4 weeks, that's about £8. Some people can do it, some people can't, but I like to set a target that people can achieve, and that's the main thing. Because once you've achieved a target, you get the motivation, you get the kind of inspiration to push that on, and that's what I want for Elaine. So I'm going to set her £6 for the next 4 weeks.
And what about Gavin?
For Gavin, I want the same off his waist again. That's the most concerning factor for me, is waist measurement and his blood pressure. I do want to see his blood pressure come down, so it's the gentle exercise as well as healthy eating that will get his blood pressure down, but I want to see a few more centimetres off his waist.
Very good, lovely. Well, that's great. Well, we're a month into the Waistline Online Challenge, and there's another 2 months to go, so if you would like to join in, and maybe you've got a holiday planned or a special occasion and you want to lose a few inches off your waistline, then please get in touch. Let us know how you're getting on. We'd love to know. I'm sure you'd love to know, Stephen. And if anyone would like any advice or any information to help them, then get in touch with Stephen direct at info@stephen-clarke.com, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks, Irene.
Well, as many of our regular viewers will know, 4 weeks ago we launched our Waistline Online Challenge to help my lovely but slightly chubby co-host lose a few inches from round the waist. And to help him along the way, we got the help of Elaine Christie, mother of 4 from Scone, who has her holiday booked for June, and she's wanting to lose a wee bit of weight as well. So to find out what's been happening in the last few weeks, we've called in our resident fitness expert, Stephen Clarke, who's going to update us on what's been happening. Hi Stephen, how's it been going?
Surprisingly well. A few changes here and there, but they're both doing well.
A few challenges maybe as well?
Elaine has taken my advice head on.
Right.
And she's adapted it to her lifestyle, which we can talk more about.
Yes.
Gavin has actually flipped his lifestyle upside down. He's actually very, very busy now.
Right.
So I've had to redo his plan, if you like, really go over it.
Well, that's good, because often life does change as well when you do start something like this, you know, and Gavin's not alone there. So yeah, that's really good. Well, I know we've got a bit of video, haven't we? We went out with the camera and followed them to see how they got on. So let's have a look at this, Stephen. So what's happening here?
Well, Elaine, like I said, she's a mother of 4. She does have problems getting exercise in, so I said, look, by all means, bring the pram out.
Bring the baby.
We'll go for a bit of a power walk, and we actually jogged as well, which I think we might see.
Yeah, that's excellent.
So
very good. Right. Oh my goodness, here he is.
There he is, the man himself.
Very good.
Yeah, Gavin did well with a little bit of jogging here and there. We need to build it up slowly, as he's not been jogging for a while.
No, and it's a cold day. You can see that. It was a cold, damp day.
It was. We soon got warm though.
And what's this now?
Gavin said he wanted to firm up his chest a little bit, so he couldn't do full push-ups, so we used a bench instead, which is a very good alternative for females as well, which if you don't have enough upper body strength. So
now, bearing in mind, this was the first one, wasn't it?
We did. On this particular day, we did 45 push-ups.
Good.
3 sets of 15. He did well.
Excellent, excellent. And now we can see the workers in the background there, just sorting out the North Inch. Oh, look at the face. Right, okay. Now, this is the jog. This picked up the pace.
She did say to me that she was a bit scared about, jogging with the pram, but when you get into the rhythm of it, it takes very, very little pressure on the pram to keep it moving, and as long as you keep it under control, there's no problem at all. Start off slow and we build up our confidence with it.
Excellent. Baby James is enjoying the run there.
He loved it. He loved it.
I bet he did. Very, very good.
We actually went down to the water as well, and we did some dips on a bench, and he was having a good old laugh with us.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think our camera lady managed to capture that. I don't know what happened there. I must have pressed the wrong button. Very good. Elaine's done really well, actually, fitting all of this in.
Elaine is doing very well. I'm very pleased with her progress so far, and her commitment to it.
That's good. Excellent. Really good. Now let's have a look, see what... back to Gavin.
Now this is Gavin's last set, and the reason I know it's his last set, because you'll see his face when he comes off the bench here.
Right, okay.
He's not too pleased.
Right. I wonder why.
Wait for it. There it is.
Good for him.
But he did well, I'm very pleased with Gavin as well.
But you know,
he is training hard.
When people take up training for the first time, you know, it does take effort, doesn't it? Now, I think this was, I think he's maybe got something to say here.
I think this is towards the end of the session.
I think so.
I was hoping for something a little bit more energetic.
I was jogging earlier on. Vivian, you're too late. We've already been round 50
You've even broken sweat.
I have so, that's why I've got my hat on. If you felt this body underneath Vivian, it would be hot, hot, hot.
Thanks, I'll just take your word for it.
And it's good fun as well. I mean, let's face it, they both enjoyed themselves, didn't they?
They did.
They really did. Well, there we go. There's our Gavin. Well done, him. What's he like? He's so funny. Now, we said for a bit of fun that to help them achieve their goals and to encourage each other, that we were going to do a treats and forfeit system. So we need to see sort of how they've got on and what their results are. But before we come to that, I'm just talking a wee bit about the training. Has it been working well? And I mean, we've seen the VT there of what they've been doing on the inch, but
it has. Well, like I said, Elaine's lifestyle has always been dictated to her. She's a mother of 4, she works, and she's always found it difficult to fit in healthy eating and exercise along with that. What I've done with Elaine is given her the tools and the knowledge that she needs to fit in the healthy lifestyle, the good nutrition and the gentle exercise, and just fit it in with her normal lifestyle.
Yeah.
And she's, like I said, she's taken it like a duck to water.
She has done.
She's taken it on board, and she's doing very, very well with it. She's actually now thinking, she's asking for more advice. You know, what can she do above and beyond this to take it a step further?
I think she is determined, because I was out running on the North Inch the other day on my own, and just happened to bump into her by coincidence.
Great.
And she came with me, and we went twice round, no stopping. Now that is really good, because when we watched the VT, she was walking for some of it.
She was. That was her first session, and we had to walk a little bit.
So she's built it up really well.
Well, was that North Inch?
Yeah.
So
that's 3 miles.
So that's 3 miles round there. So that's great.
That's fantastic. Right, Gavin. Now you said things have changed there.
Yes, things have changed with Gavin. Before, Gavin had a little bit of time on his hands. He was flexible. He could fit things, but it was just the motivation factor, and things have now flipped on their heads. Gavin is now extremely busy. I'm finding it hard to tie him down for an appointment, and we've changed it a little bit more again, just so we can, almost the advice that I'm giving Elaine, you know, tell him to make time rather than find time, you know, and it's trying to get the exercise in and making the right choices with your meals. And he still eats out, so it's still applying those principles to restaurants as well.
Very good. Now you set them both a target. Now they have to, the way the treats and forfeit system is going to work is that Stephen has set them a target. Now they've got their individual targets, but they must achieve the joint target in order to get the treat. It's so that they're encouraging each other, because that was really what it was about, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Thing.
It's a team effort.
Yes, it is, and we get a bit more fun. So, we want to know what their targets individually were and have they achieved them. So let's find out, because if they don't achieve the target, then they both have to do the forfeit, even if one has achieved targets. So, Stephen, the results for Elaine, how has she been doing?
Elaine has done very well.
Right.
I've set Elaine the target of £3 over 2 weeks, which is £6 over the 4 weeks, and she's passed that, which I'm very pleased with. She's actually lost half a stone.
Excellent.
Half a stone in 4 weeks.
Good girl.
So she's doing very well.
Very
our body fat percentage has dropped by about 2.5%.
Well, oh, that's really good.
So even better, yeah.
That's
I'm very
really
pleased with
good.
that.
She must be delighted. Very good. Well done, Elaine. Now, what about Gavin? He's not let his team down, has he?
Luckily, no. Gavin has done well. He's
Why do I look disappointed?
he's changed his lifestyle, and he still went for it and managed to get the weight loss that I set him.
Really?
I didn't
so he's reached target.
I didn't set Gavin as big a target as Elaine, because he had less to lose. It's really just the waist measurement that I really wanted to see come down, and that has come down by about 3 centimetres. So I'm very, very happy with Gavin.
Well done, well done. So it looks like it's treats for them both. Well done. That's really good. And the lovely treat that we have had donated to us is from Chiquita Leonard of Simply Nails, who has donated a £20 beauty treatment to each of them. Although, to be honest, I think it's going to take a lot more than £20 for Gavin to get him back in shape. But anyway, sorry, Gavin. But that's really nice, Chiquita. Thank you so much. So that's Simply Nails. We thank you very much indeed. So, well, that's really good news, Stephen. You must be really pleased about that.
Delighted. I couldn't be happier. So really, it's looking into the next 4 weeks to see what they can do.
That's what I was going to say. What are you going to set for them now, then?
Well, for Elaine, I want exactly the same. She's shown me that she can lose half a stone in 4 weeks. I'm going to give her exactly the same target that I did last time, so it's £6 over the 4 weeks, and let's hope she can do another half stone.
Yeah, and it's very achievable, isn't it? You're not
Definitely.
setting silly targets.
No.
It's reasonable.
I set her a very reasonable target. I mean, the experts say £2 per week, so over the 4 weeks that's about £8. Some people can do it, some people can't, but I like to set a target that people can achieve, and that's the main thing, because once you've achieved a target, you get the motivation, you get the kind of inspiration to push that on, and that's what I want for Elaine. So I'm going to set her £6 for the next 4 weeks.
And what about Gavin?
For Gavin, I want the same off his waist again. That's the most concerning factor for me, is waist measurement and his blood pressure. I do want to see his blood pressure come down, so it's the gentle exercise as well as healthy eating that will get his blood pressure down, but I want to see a few more centimetres off his waist.
Very good, lovely. Well, that's great. Well, we're a month into the Waistline Online Challenge, and there's another 2 months to go, so if you would like to join in, and maybe you've got a holiday planned or a special occasion and you want to lose a few inches off your waistline, then please get in touch. Let us know how you're getting on. We'd love to know. I'm sure you'd love to know, Stephen. And if anyone would like any advice or any information to help them, then get in touch with Stephen direct at info@stephen-clarke.com, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks, Vivian.
Well, thank you for joining us again this week, and thank you for all your support.
And remember, we always want to hear from you. We want to hear your news, your stories, your events. Get in touch with us in the normal channels. You can either email us at info@PerthshireOnline.co.uk. You can message us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter as well. We'll see you next week.